know what's going on. Say, Chris, I'm not getting any audio from the room. Now it's coming through. Can we? I apologize. If we could just double check to make sure that the meeting owl is selected as the input microphone.
I see Meeting Owl Pro.
I hear you loud and clear now.
Yep. Yeah, it's selected. It's selected.
Yeah, it was selected. That's it.
Ben probably just needs to settle out the audio a little bit. Too many people talking at one time, probably.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Sorry.
Can you pull this screen or not? Sorry.
Sorry about that. It sounds good now.
Okay.
And Ms. Mooney is with us virtually. Thank you.
Thank you. Good motion to open for public comment on the agenda items only.
Make a motion to public comment on the agenda items only.
Second. In favor?
Aye.
Any comments on the agenda? Motion closed.
Make a motion to close. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt regular and executive session minutes of July 20th, 2023.
Make a motion to accept regular executive session minutes for the meeting of July 20th, 2023. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt regular session minutes of August 17th, 2023. No executive session was held.
Make a motion to open that. As stated.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstention? Thank you. A motion to adopt resolution 2023.76, property tax assessment correction.
I make a motion to open that. As stated.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Got a motion to adopt and put these three together, resolution 2023.77, 2023.78, 2023.79, all three tax refunds.
I make a motion to move three as stated.
Second, roll call vote, please.
Keith,
Yes.
Kenny,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Ms. Nelson is excused, and New York.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. The motion to adopt resolution 2023.80, authorizing a contract for fireworks display for Community Day 2023.
I make a motion authorizing the contract for fireworks display for Community Day in 2023.
Second, I'll do a roll call on this too.
Keith,
Stay.
Kenny,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Nelson is excused, and New York.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a motion to pay all bills in the amount of $2,283,357.34. Of that, $1,330,067 is for our local Bethlehem Township Board of Education, and $610,240.67 is for our district.
And even the weight, it's interesting because the weight of the chicken tenders, I just did it's like 4.
Did you go iPad 129? Can you move the thing? Roll call, please.
Keith,
Yes.
Kenny,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Nelson is excused, and New York.
Thank you. Report, the municipal engineer.
The only thing I really have to report this evening is last Friday, we put bids for the Brunswick Pike road improvements, which is the DOT funded project. 2 bids were received, one from Top Line Construction in the amount of $192,991.06, and the other from Revax Contracting Group, of course, and that was for $270,120.80. Top Line was a little bitter. Top Line has done work in the township before, and has done a good job of work on Ludlow Station with us. The amount of the DOT grant is $150,000. However, I understand and speaking with Carl and with Jen, that there was an additional $60,000 that had been budgeted for the project when the DPW was gonna do the storm drainage installation. So we're still within budget, and we'll be using more of the DOT grant, which is why we went with it, because if we went through the co-op using the co-op prices on the pavement, using a very small portion of the DOT grant. So, we issued a letter, recommending granting of the contract to Top Line, and I understand that Jen's gonna have a resolution for that meeting. Although, in the meantime, though, I can still work with the contract and get it on our schedule. You know, set up their reconstruction meetings. And that's all that I really have for this evening.
Any questions from there? Okay. I'll just stick around just for the reservation request. I don't think we need to, but to reset it.
Speak a little more slowly, I can't understand you all.
Okay. No problem. A report of public safety officials?
Sir, Trooper Camera, Trooper John, Camera, Battle 7458, so Matt Lombardi has been handling all the township issues and the school resource officer position at Federal Station. I'm taking over, Matt's moving to the school unit within the state police, so I'm taking over. So I've got 10 years on the job. I was out of Washington Barracks for a while, so part of my regular duties was coming to town meetings, so I'm pretty familiar with that stuff. So just so you know, I'll be your local representative for town meetings and in the schools, taking over starting Monday. So this week was just like a right seat, left seat. I know Matt's a lot shorter than me, but he's uglier, so it works out. But
We like it already.
yeah. I'm good for some self-degradation, so. But I do have some stats for you as far as what we've kind of, the call to is answered, and I think we've done at the barracks in the past month, so this is for August. So total investigation report, taking 5 for the month. Just a quick note on those investigation reports. So we had 2 identity thefts in the town. On Tuesday, Matt and I came to the identity fraud class with the seniors in the community center. Seemed to go over pretty well. I've done that stuff in the past as well, White Township, big senior community out there. So very perceptive audience. Was great, and a lot of good conversation back and forth. It's kind of tips and tricks. I'm actually going to work with the detective sergeant at the station, Sergeant Sanchez. We're going to put something out. It won't have state police letterhead, but it'll give you some good information on basically not getting frauded. Because 2 in this town, that seems to be a little wild. We had 5 total in the whole station as far as the coverage area goes, but 2 out of Bethlehem Township, so we'll make sure we pass this information. We did have the 1 burglary. I'm sure everyone's familiar with that. So on Schoolhouse Road. So just a couple quick notes about that. Arrests were made. Items were returned to the owners. There are juveniles at Atlantic County. The investigation is still ongoing. It's a growing investigation. It involves multiple agencies from multiple counties. So it wound up being it's one being a very large investigation. So we can't give out too many details, but that's what we can give out so far. As far as general policing calls, we had a total of 22, a lot of medicals. We did have a couple of 1 vehicle incidents, vehicle fire, a bunch of good school details. So, Chicago Lombardi did a stop the bleeding class with a couple of schools in the area. So that was one of them. And then we did have 5 juvenile complaints, which I'll go over here in a second. And everyone's familiar with the address. I understand that Petty Sergeant Sanchez is getting your case numbers. So you want to make sure I issue tonight. He's getting those. He's actually working on today. He's going back a good amount of time to get you all the case numbers. We understand you're filing with the state. So
Yes, thank you.
not a problem. So and then crash reports, just kind of an overall total, took 20 crash reports. So motor vehicle accidents within Bethlehem Township. 15 were on 78, 4 were on 173, only 1 was local. So not too much there. You know, it's getting around to be fall time. You know, summertime's getting close now, coming to an end. I know we're going through a heat wave right now. It's been my experience so far with state police that around fall and springtime, a lot of break-ins start happening, the doors open, the doors unlocked, car doors are unlocked. I live in Warren County, I live in God's country too, right? Everyone thinks we live in this surrounding neighborhood out there, so the doors open, that kind of stuff. So if anything's going out, we'd ask that, you know, just a reminder to the residents, lock your car doors, lock your doors in your house. We do live in a beautiful area, we do live in God's country, but there are bad people out there who do bad things. So that's all I have, pending any questions.
I appreciate the statistics that you shared, and any questions from the committee?
One questions I have is, or comment is, you know, Mike, you get your contact info on, we usually reach out to, as the OEM coordinator, we always reach out, try to keep ideas.
Yep.
I know I've been talking with, Trooper Samuelson a couple of times, he helped out, thank you for, the complaint, parking meeting you had over at Hack's Road. They got resolved pretty simple, so, but yeah, just if you have a contact.
Can you, I was gonna ask the same thing, can you email clerk at Bethlehem
Yeah.
NJ with, your email and your phone number?
Yeah, of course, if you have any questions, I would just, let's go through me first.
Yeah,
As the OEM, obviously, Billy Grohl as your county coordinator for Harper County, for the state, but yeah, any questions, first, again, I'm doing this a little while. I try to resolve things as fast as possible, let's see the answers, so.
Appreciate that.
Thanks.
I have a question.
Well, we do, I know I know you're with us, but I have a motion to open the public.
Make a motion on the public comment.
Second.
Wait.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Well, this woman here, raising.
Okay. Yes, okay.
Because I actually called, I don't know if you would.
This time, I'm sorry, can you just, because we need to record everything now, can you come up with the microphone and then state your name and address?
If you guys would do that, so I can hear you. I'm Styra Eisinger, I live on Iron Bridge Road. I called the state, the office perhaps a week ago, so I don't know whether those kinds of calls are counted. I called because, as you know, Iron Bridge Road became a detour for what was going on Charlestown Road. There is a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit on Iron Bridge Road, and I live right opposite the county school, which has a 15-mile-an-hour. Nobody follows it. And what I asked for was for a car to be, a police car to be stationed at the intersection of mine and Charleston and Iron Bridge, just occasionally, enough to let people know that there are police there. They can't just come zooming down, because it's very dangerous. People have kids, animals. I'm used to just, there's never been any traffic on Iron Bridge. Now, people have discovered that if you go all the way down that wonderful road where the earth is about to end, you can get to Route 31 that way. So even though the detour is over, people are still zooming down. Just today, there was a car going at least 40 miles an hour right past the school when the school was in session. I hope you can do something.
Absolutely, I'll put it out to the squad, I'll let the sergeant know the station, and I'll actually, so I drive through there every time I come to work, so. It's So, and I'll be stopping at Conway in the morning as well, so, the troop car presence should help that as well.
One whirly gig.
Yeah.
A few times, I think we got to think of that. Thank you.
And I
I
completely,
didn't catch your name,
Trooper John Kemp.
John.
Kemp.
But I do tend to call him.
No, we rather do.
Give me, Trooper, just a quick question in regards to that. I know I've been living somewhere where we had the radar sign. If you guys have any of the radar signs that can be moved around to the different poles in your barracks?
So we don't have these.
Okay,
That's a DOT initiative, and I know, just as a, for example, it's Lebanon Township, so Lebanon actually, I don't know where they got that from, I can try and find out for you. But they're actually down that data, so the town had to adopt a program, and they got those signs. And they download the program that they're gonna be giving us information on times and dates that they're seeing.
yeah, that's the same one we have, so I wasn't sure if you guys can carry maybe 5 or 6 grand each.
I think Go Hunterdon is our transportation authority. I think they might have one or two. I'll look at tomorrow, so you have to get on the list, and they rotate.
Yeah, I can tell you that we don't have it at the station. I mean, there'd probably be some funny things played if there was, so.
Oh, sure, I'm just wasn't sure if you guys had any there though.
No, we don't have.
Maybe everyone living.
Is there any other public comment question?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm really considered public administrator, but I think
it seems the appropriate time to maybe ask Johnny is because you had mentioned you're taking over for Chico Lombardi currently as our liaison.
Yeah.
So previously with regards to court security and our court security meetings and so forth, it was Brian Welsh. And I had sent an email to Chico Lombardi maybe about a week and a half ago.
The LT voted that email that I got, so I'll reach out to you. Yeah, yeah, that's
I
fine.
just wanted, I didn't know if it was appropriate to then maybe.
No, yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna come, so I officially start this mission Monday, so.
Okay,
I'm off Monday, so I'll come by Tuesday or Wednesday.
okay, so that kind of ties in with one of the items that's on my report.
Okay.
About having our first in-person court session on September 26th and court security, so, not only would we need court security and want to see if I'm gonna be going through you to coordinate that for court session.
Yeah.
As well as considering that it would be you and the budget meeting on the.
Yeah, of course. I'll reply to your email
That sounds good.
Tuesday when I come in, and then, yeah.
Thank you. That kind of thought.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Right, like I said, thank you.
Steve Barger, 468 Wine Road. Group, with the blasting going on 78, 173 has been a nightmare, obviously, to all our local residents. Is there any way we can put, during the blast, a troop car at the bottom and the top? Either anywhere along there. It's horrendous to try and get out of Mine Road or any other driveway at the top of the mountain. It's just,
Okay.
it's bad because they, especially at the top of the mountain, they fly around the corner and they just don't care. You got all the trucks and cars from Pennsylvania or wherever they're going. It's bad. It's
Okay.
really bad.
I'll bring it up with the station commander and, we'll see, and also, so it just gets tough, because.
I know, you're living in.
There's 8 night troopers and then you call.
I know, you're living
We
We understand
we
that.
met with DOT, and
Yes.
we asked for additional troopers, and then it also comes from the DOT budget, because it goes beyond your normal.
Right.
So there's been a car at the bottom of the hill, but it's more for the on-ramp, it doesn't help at the top.
But the problem is even at the bottom, where they're coming off of 78 onto the circle,
And stuff.
they don't understand it's a yield. And you're smiling, so you know. But at the top of the mountain, it's just as bad coming the other way. And top,
Let me see if I can talk to DOT, you might be able to apply with this then too, but also, we'll see if we can talk to the overtime unit. And see if it can possibly be made part of the duties of some of the troopers that are on there. The problem is, when they have to go blast, they have to leave that.
Yes.
And sometimes they're doing two.
so I mean,
We asked, I don't know, we talked to DOT, they're supposed to have a traffic researcher look into it. Either having a trooper meter traffic on exit 11, so that they're not getting constant flow.
right,
Or blocking traffic as far back as exit 12 and using the existing traffic light to meter, which would be a disaster at 12.
that's just as bad.
But then at least meters the cars because of the traffic, so
Yeah.
their traffic person is supposed to be looking at that, as a
They
potential.
really should have budgeted more for traffic
I agree.
control. And now with all the grinding and repaving buildings, it's even worse. Everything all at one time, which is,
But yeah, let me see if I can.
what engineer designed
Yeah,
that?
if you're trying to call-
It's nice.
if you're trying to call the DOT, you're gonna, like, second call my help.
Okay, yeah, we can coordinate on that. And I'll share a quick people saw too, I was very excited to see that New Jersey received over $400 million for DOT and New Jersey transit projects, and none of them are in Bethlehem Township or around us. So, that's exciting news for us, as much as we appreciate the effect.
Back a little bit.
Yeah, they're actually, I think they're replacing a bridge at White House and then one other place. We should be relatively safe after they finish the last.
Good evening, Andrew Laffey, 3 Flower Lane, Bethlehem. Trooper, I just wanted to bring awareness and thank you, Mr. Muir, for your help with, case number, 2305-465-13. This was an unfortunate situation where my vehicle was stolen out of my driveway on July 18th. And currently there's an arrest warrant out, which I anticipate pressing charges. I've been working with Trooper Lombardi and Trooper Hanratty.
Okay.
But I haven't heard back from Trooper Hanratty. So if you could ask her to please reach out to me and that off
Yeah,
the
of
record, I can give you my
And
information.
she's working tonight, if you want to call.
Is she working?
Yeah, she is.
Okay. But Mr. Muir, we have to set the tone on this and not allow it to happen because I believe there were 4 vehicle thefts in the month of July.
Yeah, I don't know the exact, this is something in July, but so there was this all kind of ties into the ring of juveniles down in the county. It's a much larger investigation. I'm not sure exactly what that one is, I can look into it, but that larger ring, again, still an investigation, can't say too much about it, but there's more to come with that.
Okay.
There's a significant amount of young juveniles and possibly smaller.
They're part of the same group that's been hitting all around Jersey,
Yeah.
again, destroyed in Essex County.
Yeah.
So, fair point.
And
It's I'm not sure if you saw, I'm gonna jump in, but if you have seen posts, these are organized gangs that are doing a lot of that stuff. And I mean, the schoolhouse, the truck that was stolen there was part of the group where they just basically, they'll drive to an area. They'll pop GPS, what's near me, they'll pop up, realtor.com, Zillow.com, whatever else, oh, there's $500,000 home, there's a good chance, maybe a car, and you just drive around and wherever they can, and they go. And it's, we're chasing metal mixing 2 to 3 times a day now.
Right.
So,
But out of all of those thefts, how many times do you actually catch the culprit?
I can tell you this, many times you get to the culprit, and I'm sure he'll tell you, by the time the paperwork's signed, the parents are out the door, they get released to the parents, that's it.
On no bail?
The juvenile, how many juvenile, they don't get bail.
No, even in situations with adults, no bail.
with juveniles, makes it difficult. With adults, they typically have to at least wait 24 hours, so with the new court rules with the AG's office, they're supposed to be heard the very next day, so don't really kept this 24 hours now, if there's a single circumstance, they'll keep them.
Right.
But unfortunately, bail reform changes,
Right.
there's not a whole lot the courts can do, and trust me, we're not happy to see it either.
Right. And well, this isn't just about me, this is about everybody sitting in this room who lives in this town and even in the state. If we don't set the tone and press charges against those who are caught, then they're just gonna continue doing it over and over again and expecting different results, which is the definition of insanity.
Completely,
So-
totally, yes, totally agree. Just to give you, for example, I was just maybe at the town yesterday, with weapon involved and a lot of other illicit drugs. And a well-known felon from Warren County, Herndon County, released the very next day. Jail, released the very next day. So our detectives did a lot of work, a lot of our investigative guys did a lot of work, put all the effort in, and he was jailed, and released the next day.
And
All because of.
it's-
So is that what's gonna happen to this individual, even with the
I
charges?
can't
pressed?
say a blow, but I can say, as 2 officers here and probably as attorneys, don't be surprised if he is.
So how do we set the record straight that this isn't gonna be tolerated?
At the voting.
It's a legislative level.
That's
Got
right.
to call, get rid of the local.
But I will absolutely ask Sugar handwriting, and she's working tonight.
Please do.
If you call the station, she's working on this, call the station, she'll go get you back at some point, and it's ready on the phone. She'll do, back.
No,
And on another note, if anybody doesn't have cameras, make sure you put at least one camera up in front of your house, so that way there's video footage right to your phone.
They
so-
will, but just, that's good for you, but they know what the camera is, they don't care about the cameras.
Who doesn't want the cameras?
I said, they don't care about the cameras at least.
Well, the next thing is it does give us information, right? So,
It helps out.
again, I'm in Warren County, I worked in Warren County for 5 years, I was always a big proponent of trail cameras. They're cheap, they're AA batteries, it's an SD card, most people don't even see them, they take great quality pictures, but it gives us something to go off of.
Right.
Actually, a lot of the issues that we have.
centralizer, that probably
Yeah.
the best.
I mean, I have a ring camera in my house, a big fan of ring, I'm not officially sponsored ring. I just use them personally, I'm a huge fan of them, but I always recommended, even a truck camera costs $40 at Walmart, buy some batteries and SD cards.
Sounds good.
But I'll be honest with you, the cameras in the area is what found, for example, that truck and the Kubota that was stolen.
Yeah.
And it captured the culprits on camera. So I 100% agree.
Right, but what I don't understand is how somebody can break their neck running in a brand new truck into a pole on Strops Road and get let go, and now has an arrest warrant out when they were in custody. Like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and I'm not asking you to answer
Yeah,
that.
no, and if.
I'm just saying-
If they were lodged and they were released, then they've got a warrant out because of the courts. And unfortunately, the court's hands are tied. The problem is-
Just as a victim, you're upset by that, how do you think the cops are when they're?
Oh, absolutely.
Doing the research and everything else, and they do all this stuff, and they get the guy, I just give this right after.
Well, there's other situations where people have gotten away, like the Garrison Court incident. The car was recovered, but the vandal wasn't. In this situation, they essentially just let the person go. So my overall point to everybody is prevent this stuff from happening. If you see something, say something, and send a message to these criminals that we're not gonna tolerate this behavior. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Motion closed to public comment.
Make a motion for the public comment. Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Thank you. It's very informative. I appreciate your time tonight.
Yeah, no
Thanks.
problem. But I just say-
We say about that.
Or visitor. No offense to anybody in the audience, but none of you look like an Eagle Scout to me right now. Well, you made me, but not. I should say Eagle Scout, Eagle Scout Canada. I know there are Eagle Scouts out there, the Eagle Scout Canada, so we will, I guess, table that and reissue the invitation, for the young man. Under old business, a discussion for farmland preservation with a right-of-way request for 142 Valley Road, block 41, lot 2, block 42, lots 1901 and 20. Can I have a motion to open this discussion?
Make a motion to open discussion.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Grant, is there anything?
Yeah, I think when we spoke, we don't need the road widening there, so unless they haven't done the survey yet, I reached out, she said it hasn't been done yet, so. But it would be an isolated, road widening in the middle of, so I'm comfortable.
As am I, it's a very short section of road in the township, connects two other towns. I don't see us ever widening or improving the road beyond the limits that it already is.
You're recommending, approving the right.
We can reject, there's a letter that we can just sign and say that we're not interested in the additional public right of way dedication.
Okay. Any other questions? Motion to close discussion?
Make a motion to close discussion.
Second. In favor? Motion to, approve the letter, rejecting the right of way.
Make a motion to approve the letter, rejecting the right.
I'll second. Roll call vote, please.
Steve,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Nelson is excused, Muir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Zachary, you'd like to be excused.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The new business, discussion for shared service agreements with fire and rescue, so a motion open for discussion.
Okay, motion open for discussion.
Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So this year, for the first time, we are instituting, say, I don't want to call it performance of contracts with our first responding agencies with Bethlehem Township, just to initiate and designate some basic procedures. I'll turn it over to Mr. Lindsay as OEM and Mr. Abramovich as our attorney to further explain and share the process. And then this evening, we will be discussing these contracts in executive session. And then we'll come back out in public session after that and share any resolutions that we have after discussing the contracts, but just so the public know the initial basis of it.
So I'll start real quick. One of the reasons I had originally discussed having some sort of contract came down with doing their emergency operation plans. Every time they get updated every year, when you go through the classes, when you do the reviews for FEMA and everything else, they always recommend that you should have your agreements in these plans, and I could never find the agreements. Going back to before I was OEM, I've asked around, no one seemed to know exactly where they were. So it kind of brought the discussion of, well, maybe we should create another agreement so we have something on file to sort of determine how, a step forward from here. Mr. O'Reilly, started working on some, the fire department, we had a meeting with them to get their input afterwards, and hopefully try to get some sort of hear everyone's opinion about it and get everyone all on the same page and get an agreeable, workable document that right now, it's probably gonna be every year, is gonna be renewables, is that?
Yeah, so
To address the concerns.
yeah, so
That sounds
we
good.
drafted an agreement. It's a very, templated, very basic agreement that talks about responsibilities for for the township as well as, each of the agencies. So as you may know, there's Hampton Borough, Fire, Glen Gardner Fire, Franklin Township Fire, Hattenburg Rescue, Bloomsbury Hose, South Branch, and then, yeah, that's it, that's all, so. Right, so, we're just, kind of good housekeeping, and, it's gonna be, the first contract's gonna be through the end of 2024 for most of the departments, and then it'll be an annual contract. And we had a good meeting with all the chiefs, and they expressed, their concerns about rising costs, just operating costs, cash flow issues, so, we're locked in for this agreement through the end of 2024, and then we'll have to address all the departments again, before 2025.
I believe they said the last increase they got was about 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was about 2 or 3 years ago, there was a 5% increase, so.
I think it was 2019, I believe was there.
I'd like to be able to see us be able to work with them and get them their increase because of these, current inflation rates. That we want to call them.
Just fuel, parts,
Parts.
these are very expensive equipment, so.
What's the diesel fuel going for now?
425 a year.
That's in the low end.
Any other discussion, maybe this time with the contract?
No.
Any particular contracts, council contract. And just so the public knows, the township contributions to the first responding agency, so for Bloom. Yeah, so you know what the financial obligation is. Bloomsbury, Hampton, and Pattenberg fire companies all received $41,444. Franklin and Glen Gardner received $34,184. And that's based on coverage area, and the chiefs themselves determine how they split that up. We, many years ago, gave them the total pot, and they decided how to split that up. And then as we make increases, we just do the percentage increases to keep that pie the same. And then the rescue companies, Pattenberg receives $37,110, and South Branch, which is formerly Hampton, receives $22,810. So what we're going to do, we'll have an executive session, we'll discuss approving each of these contracts individually in that executive session. We'll come out and have a resolution for each in public session, so you know how the meeting's gonna go. There may be other executive sessions. A motion open for public comment.
Make a motion to open the public comment.
Second. On favor?
Aye.
Steve Barnick for 68 Mine Road. In that contract, you should make sure that all the companies have all their first responders, anybody on a truck has current certifications. Because I'm not riding right now because I have this, but you cannot have any facial hair. Anything past the bottom left.
Right, because your mask.
So. And certifications for your hazmat, your first responder, your CVO, everything. So you need to make sure that they all have all their current certifications.
Some departments are trying to make sure that the actual members are saying they actually have those members, so
Well,
that's kind of why we're in the plan.
it's,
Spinning our wheels with this stuff.
I'm not gonna say anything else other than some skate under the radar. So.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other public comment on this topic? Motion to close.
Thank you, motion to close the public comment.
Second.
Second.
On favor?
Aye.
Motion to close this discussion.
Motion to close discussion.
Have a second.
Second.
On favor?
Aye.
The report of municipal planning board is tabled. Is there paper for you? There's paper report of tax collector has been emailed. So would you like to give the CADB report? Appreciate you coming out in person to give your report tonight.
Well, I haven't been here for a long time, so it was a good chance. There's almost nothing to say, as a matter of fact, because I don't know of any farm, there's certainly no farmer who has contacted me to preserve land. Most of the farms in this township have been preserved. If anybody knows of someone who has 40 acres or more, 40 acres is now the minimum. Under most circumstances, I'll get to that in a moment. You should refer them to me if they don't know what to do. Some people do know what to do on their own, but that's unusual. There's a process which is, I learned what bureaucracy was for when we got involved in the CADB, with farmland preservation. It's basically to make sure that everybody is treated fairly, and to do that takes time and takes, I don't have to tell you. So far, it's worked very well. We've preserved almost all of the big farms in this township have been preserved. There is one small farm that I know that you are aware of. That's Alan Hunt. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's handled this on his own. It's the SADC, which is taking care of it, as I'm sure you know. On the other hand, there's going to be a meeting in LD 23. We are in LD 23, considered a lost cause by some people, but not by me. And where there is going to be a meeting of farmers in all of LD 23. So obviously people outside of Bethlehem Township. If you know of any, and I can't tell you details, I only know that the date is September 28th. And so if anyone that you're in touch with is interested, and the idea is to get conversation going with local farmers as to what they would like from the government, what could be done, because obviously it's not enough to preserve the farm, you have to preserve the farmer. And are there regulations that would be helpful? Obviously, there are lots of issues. Since I don't have the exact details, if you know of anyone like that, the best thing would be to refer them to you, Christina. I hope that's all right with you, and then you would get in touch with me. That's about it.
Thank you. Are the legislatures going to be at that meeting?
I beg your
Are
pardon?
the legislatures from LD 23 going to be present at that meeting?
Some of the candidates will,
Okay.
and we'll see what comes of that. But basically a conversation to find out what's on their minds. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for, it was slow. Thank you for all the work you've always done. We appreciate it.
Well, I do it for selfish reasons, because I moved here because it's a beautiful place and I wanted to stay that way.
Well, thank you. Our animal licensing official is an email report. The zoning official is an email report. Department of Public Works is email. Mr. Keith, if there's anything you'd like to add to that? Or sure.
Carl sent me a report. You want me to read it or read it at the end?
You can read his roads commissioner. We'll do it.
Want me to do the road commission?
Yeah, do his roads commission. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Animal control official, I thought we've seen that email, there's an email report as well, and the court administrator was email, although I consider the court an important part of our municipal government, so I asked our administrator, Donna Search, to be here with us this evening, only if there are any questions from the committee. Steve, any questions? I appreciate your report was very thorough, but again, I appreciate you being here in person. Again, I consider our report important, so I appreciate your presence.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we've reported township attorney.
So there's two matters we have, I can report that we had no tax appeals, where we had, no challenges to the assessed values, at the county level, and there's nothing at the state level. Driven mostly by very high comparable sales locally. We have a really strong real estate market in Bethlehem Township, and so we're not seeing a lot of challenges to the assessed values. We've opted to join in, some PFAS, also known as forever chemical, class action lawsuit, related to, some high levels of PFAS contamination at the school. I believe we're number 43 on the priority list from the state of New Jersey to provide a system that would filter the school water so that the school children can drink out of the faucets. And that system is valued, I would say about 5 years ago, at around $1 million. So we're hoping that with this class action lawsuit, that the township can recover some monies related to the filtration system that would be necessary. And we also have our ADS environmental litigation that's still pending. We have a new judge, and we're just in general settlement discussions, but nothing is slated for oral argument or for briefing, since the judges are not hearing these cases right now in Business 13, which is 100 Somerset Warren. So that's the status of those two litigation matters.
Any questions? Report of personnel technical support coordinators, Ms. Nelson, she's excused this evening, and Mr. Kenny, does anything else? Report of roads coordinator, Mr. Keith.
Hey, this report came away from Carl, so, we moved municipal yard and, well, we mowed municipal yard and parks. We had one storm this month that took out a lot of trees on Trevling development that we cut up and took care of with the brush chipper. We did equipment repairs. We repaired a couple of emergency lights that weren't working. We repaired catch basins. We had 2 hazmat cleanups this month, one on Fleet Farm Road and one on Turkey Hill Road. And I just wanted to add that we had a DPW worker that resigned, and Carl, Judy, and I did interviews last Friday, and Carl picked the best person for the job, and I believe he starts on the 11th. That should be all taken care of.
I just add one thing.
Yes.
There's a road closure right now, Turkey Hill, is down tree and wires, Carl just texted me a little, 10 minutes ago. So,
There was a huge wind.
yeah, there's a massive storm, luckily it's storm in front of us, but.
And there's just a lot of debris on the road.
Yeah,
So Carl, field patrol.
Yeah,
he's not coming in, he sent someone in to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a bunch of stuff on my road coming down here.
Yeah.
That's in.
Oh, so,
Mhm.
Thank you for the report, Mr. Keith. Report of joint professional service coordinator, that's myself and Mr. Kenny. Nothing additional other than the court. We shared about our metal detecting system that we were required for court security, so it is sitting there waiting to be assembled to the court. There are no other updates currently to court. We still have our job opening though for the violations clerk, so it's on the website. If anybody's interested in sharing that or applying, that is still an open position for the court. And all the information is on the website as far as salary and hour requirements. A report of violence council coordinator, it's Ms. Nelson, also excused for this evening, although I believe there are no updates at this point. The only other thing I'll add, and I don't know whether Ms. Nelson shared, which we keep talking about our stormwater B to A, Highlands has issued some guidance on that as well, and also a non-competitive grant opportunity, which Bethlehem Township will be pursuing. The dollar amount is yet to be specified for that grant. Report of governing body members, Mr. Kenny.
Nothing new.
Mr. Lindsay.
Nothing.
So, Mr. Keith.
I have my report from the boys group home. This is from Mike Haggerty, he's the CEO and the president of the company. Hi Steve, hope all is well with you. I just want to provide you with a quick update status report on Mine Road Youth Treatment Home. We are currently serving 3 youths. One of the youth has unfortunately had a very difficult adjustment and resulted in 3 incidents of running away from staff that involved the local police for additional support and returning her to the home. The same youth also had 2 incidences where EMS were called to transport her to crisis or evaluation. In fact, she is currently receiving hospital treatment. We are optimistic that once stabilized, she will return to our program and be able to benefit from our treatment as our treatment approaches. The other two youths are making great progress with no need for any additional supports. Our delayed egress alarm system to further decrease the opportunity for youths to leave the home has finally received all necessary approval, and with all the fully and tentative, will be fully activated tomorrow. That's basically his report. I went there today, spoke to the woman who actually basically does all the day-to-day operations there. She assured me everything's doing well. This home does great things for these kids. Unfortunately, sometimes they get the worst of the worst. And running away is a big problem. That's why you see state police there. He's trying to control it, but with this egress system, it means the door gets locked, I believe, for 30 seconds. So if some of the residents try to leave, it will not let them leave. It gives them, the staff, 60 or 30 seconds to get to the door where the child is trying to get out. And this, through a course of a month trying, they finally got it, all the approval from the fire department, because this line hooked up to the local fire department. They're gonna approve it, and as of tomorrow, it's gonna be activated, so that should stop a lot of the escapes, or whatever you wanna call them. So that should be under control, and basically, that's it. They're doing their job, they're doing everything they possibly can to help these students. Any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
I'm just gonna add, Mr. Keefe and I have been working together. Mr. Keefe takes the lead on this, but we've been working together, and I did reach out to the Department of Developmental Disabilities, which oversees the house. And just to clarify, because there were questions in our last township meeting as well, I believe we all received a few emails. You know, the township does not have control over a group home, whether it's through zoning or approvals. And I say that because, and not to be disparaging of group homes, but the reality is, if the township did have a say in a group home, I would believe there would be no group homes, because we would all not want to have to manage something that we don't control. So we don't have control over it. It's managed through the state, through that Office of Developmental Disabilities. There is a reporting system on their website, so I've sent the residents that live in the area that reporting system, so they can report if they have incidents. I did, as the trooper shared, I did reach out, and we're getting all of the incident reports from the state police to share with the Department of Developmental Disabilities, so that they can review the home. And I'm gonna say it's difficult, but the reality is that home most likely is going to remain a group home because of the location that it is, the modifications that have been done to that home. So our tact right now is to try to make them the best neighbors they possibly can be. So we need to get the facts from the state police. We need to get the facts from the Department of Developmental Disabilities. Mr. Keefe goes over there and monitors as much as he can. And we're trying to, again, make them the best neighbors they possibly can be. If there are deficiencies, then the state sees the license as an issue. They're the ones who have to take that action. So we're monitoring as best we can, but we have no direct control over that group home and where it is and how it operates. So we're just trying to be the best, I would say, oversight with the limitations that we have.
Where is it? I wasn't aware of it.
So it's on 509.
Do it again?
509 Mine Road. It's on the corner.
Mine, close.
It's been,
It's right.
it's been a group home since, I don't know the exact year, but I'd say probably 2013, 14. Yeah, it's at least, yeah, it's had three different operating companies. They all register with the town. The current one is a nonprofit.
I must say, I live within a mile, I've never noticed any problem.
I just really wanted to follow up because there were some comments at the last meeting. With that, that's all the committee reports. Township Administrator, Ms. Mooney, do you have anything you need to add?
Just a couple things. For animal, I was speaking with BJ, and any animal that's not licensed by September 30th, summonses will be going out to those residents. She wanted me to let you know that she is sending out emails if she has email addresses, and making the phone calls the same as she did last year to try and get everyone licensed done by the end of the month. But for anyone who's not licensed by the end of September, she and Donna are going to start doing the summonses again.
Anything else?
And I have one contract and 2 personnel for exec.
Yeah, thank you. Guys, we did make every effort, our animal licensing, individual, she works very hard. Last year, I think we had about 54 people that were not licensed at this point and brought it down to about 7. We try not to take you to court or something like that. So, we work hard over the next month to try to reduce that, but if, there are residents who are listening or you share,
Can I have a question about that while we're on that?
sure, most open public comment?
Motion open.
A second, all in favor?
A visiting animal or dog does not need to be licensed, correct?
Correct, the visiting does not.
Okay.
Well, it's licensed somewhere.
Yeah.
Motion to close?
Motion to close, board. Second.
All in favor?
I,
Okay, and then report mayor, on a fun report, we hosted the 100 games August 26th. Unfortunately, Bethlehem came in 6th out of 9 teams. Union won yet again, by about 30 points. Tewksbury almost beat them.
We need to have Union stop creating the game.
Yeah, so-
Seem to create them for them to hold them.
So we're gonna try to see if we can help restructure. The big win for Bethlehem Township was sharing our Heritage Park. I don't know if I'm gonna agree to it, but the mayor from Union Township called and asked if we could just keep the 100 games there because everybody loved our park so much. I know the other mayors from Clinton Township and some other surrounding towns have never been there, so it was a proud moment to share Heritage Park. I'm not sure I'm willing to share it again next year. And then I just want to clarify too, there were no taxpayer dollars used in hosting this, so our DPW helped prepare some of the fields, but every town that participated contributed $300 and to participate in the games, and that goes to offset any costs from our township as the host. The intent was to actually make it kind of like the Olympics, so Clinton Town is supposed to host next year. And as much as I love people coming to our park, I hope they do host next year. But it was a fun day, some of you were out there, and it was a good way to showcase our park and our town. My other report was partially with the group home, which we shared with Mr. Keith. And then at our last meeting, we had tabled our stormwater B to A ordinances. We were waiting for a hearing from DEP. This morning, the Conference of Mayors was hosting a mayor's conference, and our guest speaker was the DEP commissioner. So I spoke to him, and we will be having a meeting with DEP. The discussion may not be exactly the one that we want, but we will be hosting a meeting, and we'll keep everybody updated as to our progress with those stormwater regulations. Those are my only reports at this time. Any questions for me from the committee? Okay, motion open for public comment.
Make a motion to open for public comment. Second.
All in favor? Any public comment, do please come up to the microphone. I apologize for that request, but because of the Zoom, we want to, Ms. Wilder, I do see your hand up, so I'll get to you after. I'll acknowledge it.
I want to talk about something that's been on my mind, namely garbage. I know that this township is very proud of not raising taxes, but when you stopped recycling, you raised my taxes because I now have to pay a service to come and pick up my recycling. That's not on your books, but it's on my book. And I think, quite honestly, I'm going to be blunt here, it's not honest to say that this township doesn't raise taxes. That was simply a way of making us pay for something that the township had paid for. Why can't we go back to having a recycling program?
So we opened it up to residents. I know not everybody follows or goes to the website. We actually did a public survey about recycling, and the majority of voters on that public survey did not want to participate in recycling based on the cost.
And what was the problem? Sorry, I don't.
It was about, well, we needed to make a repair to the machine, which was about $2,000, and then the operating costs were about $8,000 annually.
So what does that come to for each? I mean, there are many townships. My son happens to live in one in the distant remote part of Long Island where everybody pays, I don't know, $25 a year, and there is a town dump or whatever they call it. Is this township not able to ask its residents to pay a small amount like that so that we can recycle?
We can look at it for 2024. We were one of the last towns to offer recycling in the county. I don't know if the Union may offer one day a month, but none of the other municipalities in our surrounding area offer recycling either.
That's not an excuse.
Our residents, we can revisit it, but the majority of the residents did not seem to be in favor of recycling. I'm sympathetic to your
But
situation.
you're saying majority of residents who look at the website. I don't happen to look at the website.
We'll take it under consideration.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Right.
What? Steve Bardecker, 468 just to answer a little bit of her question. It depends on your disposal. Some charge for it, some don't.
Say that again.
Some charge for recycling, some do not. So I don't know what you have for your disposal. But some companies do not, it's included in your garbage.
Well, okay, I have an unusual situation that I compost all my garbage, so I don't need a compost. That kind of, I need recycling.
Well, it's a recycling container. So it's,
I don't know of any company that would come to my house just to pick up my recycling without charging me.
So you don't have a disposal company?
No,
Okay, then,
well, I don't now because.
okay, then that's a different story. Then I don't have an answer. My other question is, down at the park, behind the playground. All of a sudden, there's 4 footings behind the playground. What are they for?
We had a grant, we're actually putting I guess a pergola or a pavilion.
It's a pergola.
I got grandkids and all the time they go down there, us being parents and grandparents, kind of stand out in the sun and watch the kids. So this is actually gonna be a space, I forget the size, but it's gonna be room enough for 2 picnic tables. And it's gonna be a place the parents and the grandparents can actually sit and watch their kids in the shade.
So this is a grant, not gonna cost the town taxpayers.
It's a DCA community grant, so paid for, the water that's in the park, the pergola, and 8 benches along the walking path.
Okay, how come that wasn't brought up? And
Cause it's still in progress right now. After it's done, then I should make a report.
Well-
That's parks.
but shouldn't it have been brought up ahead of time, saying this is what we're moving forward with?
The
What's
previous
going
meetings,
on?
the engineer has updated us.
But it's all from the grant.
Okay. Not a problem.
We bought it from a local guy, Steve. He lives in Alexandria, but he has the shed place right next to Ryman and Sons.
Steve, Steve Fox.
Fox, yeah.
Fox shed.
Any other public comment? Mr. Madison?
Oh, no sense, no. Peter Berger, 134 Blackford Road. Actually, I'd like to thank Mr. Matarazzo for volunteering to clean up the woods, that little strip of woods by the school. Now we can see the school where a lot of our tax money goes, of course. So, thanks, Joe. Nice job. Mr. Ogrodnik,
Yes, sir.
I have this court document filed July 25th, 2023. Is the new Judge Edward Coleman?
He's a retired judge on recall.
Yeah.
That's just really filling in temporarily, so I don't believe he will be our long-term trial judge, which will probably be Judge Shanahan, who's handling all prerogative land use matters. But as of now, that's our temporary on recall assigned judge for this case.
And so I see here, and I see your name on it. I see here. It's ordered as follows, and there's 4 different things that are ordered. I'm sure you're familiar with this document.
Sure.
So the first thing is the parties shall continue in-person settlement conferences for an additional 6 months, including the conduct of such public hearings as are necessary.
Correct.
So you have till January.
to have a public hearing about this if you feel it's necessary.
Well, there is absolutely no question that any development of that site will go through full public hearing, public notice in front of the joint land use board. So all the public will have an opportunity to comment on whatever application is presented.
They will.
Yes,
You sure?
positive.
Very good. And then I see one other thing that caught my attention. The discovery deadline is hereby extended for 6 months until June 30th, 2024. Does that mean you can present evidence to this man, to this court?
No, so actually, just procedurally, prerogative writ cases are decided wholly on the record that was established at the planning board hearings. So if you do not have an expert planner, sound guy, traffic, civil engineering, all the different environmental, all the different expert witnesses, any testimony that's elicited in these prerogative writ cases is strictly limited to the record. We can make legal arguments, which of course we've done as it's gone through the trial courts and the appellate division, where we did prevail at the appellate division recently. But there is really no discovery like a car accident where you look at injuries and things like that.
That's why I thought it was odd. I mean, the way I read that means you can present evidence and for another 6 months.
I mean, I would say just generally that courts leave open discovery while, you're in settlement discussions. So it's not, there is no discovery. We actually had that discussion with the judge that neither party thinks we need any additional discovery because again, you're limited to the record. That's under the municipal land use law. So there's no new, it's not like we can now hire an expert and present that to the superior court.
No, but if he's doing something that he shouldn't be doing.
And that will be, I'm sure, an issue for the planning board.
He's running Bethlehem Township truck stop. Another new drone photo. That's something he shouldn't be doing. That's evidence of wrongdoing, which should be accepted in discovery.
Can I see that?
Sure. Thank you.
When was this photograph taken?
Is that the picture roll of trucks? Is that the picture roll of trucks?
Yeah. Here you want. I make copies. I have it on my phone. Oh, very good.
I suggest if you're taking photos, they need to be dated.
Oh, they are. I mean, the hard copies are not.
They have to be resubmitted.
The hard copies are not
If
dated.
you're requesting any action, they have to have a date and time.
That's fine. That's just for
Just for
curiosity.
dramatic effect.
We have
If
it
you're trying
all.
to actually accomplish something, you need the date and time.
Fine. I just wanted to show everybody what was going on. And we do have the photos dated and time stamped appropriately. If you need them for evidence, we would be glad to do it, and we're gonna do more.
Okay, sure they send
You can keep that.
them directly to my email.
Send the photos to your email.
Yes.
Here's one that's a little bad contrast, but you can keep that. It's a little nicer one. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Other public comment?
Charlie Marasso, 102 Blossom Road. Question, we don't do anything with block 21, lot 1? I sent you an email
Which one is that?
down there by me, Dave Bolton first, Mr. McGee.
No idea. Yeah, the zoning officer said that they're putting together the appropriate paperwork and he's working with their attorneys responded. So as long as they're in process.
He's been in process for 7 months. And he said he can't do nothing without you authorizing him. That's what he told me last
I
week.
saw that email and that is not.
That's what he
true.
told me. That's why I wrote it out.
That is not true.
I want my paper trail. You know that.
I know that, but it's not factually true. I have no control over what he decides to do. The fact of the matter is, in order to defer to the attorney, the only discussion I had with the zoning officer is if that applicant or person is disputing what the zoning officer is saying, and their attorney is putting together a package or a response, we have no legal grounds to issue a summons at that point.
You had your old attorney write a letter, and you all got a copy of that. And then my attorney wrote you a letter, you know, showing you all that, but you don't take any actions. It's been, with you and I, it's probably been over a year and a half going back and forth. That the new zoning officer has been, what, 7 months? And he doesn't do nothing. Oh, they're doing this. They pulled an Oprah. They didn't do an Oprah. He went in.
There may not be something going on there.
What do you mean nothing going on?
There may not be any cause to take action.
There's a construction outfit running out of there.
That's what you're saying.
And that's what's there on there. You see all the trucks down there.
That's what you're saying. It's up to the zoning officer. And I do not tell him what to do. He does not ask me what to do. He makes his own determination on that and any and all properties.
Okay. Next question is, where are we at in gov deals? It's been 7 months on gov deals.
Where Mr. Keefe is the roads commissioner, we just switched, so he'll be working on that.
Yeah, we gotta take a bunch of pictures.
Okay, I know he said they would roll and everything back in March, but there was nothing.
Carl took the pictures, and it's up to the roads commissioner and DPW to work on that.
Okay, the other question is, 2 meetings ago, you told me that the contractors list for the state of New Jersey, the DCA, is on our website. I called, I could not find it. I asked Chris to help me find it. She couldn't find it. She called you and you said you didn't put it up. It's not, because it's gotta be voted on, all that. It's gotta be.
No, we're looking for a template from DCA, so.
You told me at a meeting that you're taking Hampton Boroughs. I had it in my hand and he said that he was on the copy of Hampton Boroughs.
I went on Hampton's website and I couldn't find it on there either. What they have, and what we have is the multi-apartment listing, which is part of that same registration. But the business listing, they don't have and we don't have, and we're asking DCA for a template. So
Well, you
I will
told me
say-
at the meeting, you
I will
reviewed
say-
Hamptons
yeah,
and
I
you
will
said
say
you
I
were
was-
doing the same
I will say
thing.
I was misspoken, and so I will say that I didn't understand that the apartment registration was not including the business registration, because it's the same, it's all the same request from DCA. If you have a multi-unit apartment, you have to prove your liability insurance. If you have a business, you have to do the same. I thought it was all the same document. It is not. I misspoken. I apologize, and we do not have a template to put up yet.
Well, this has been going on for what, 8 months about
And
this?
I've shared it's not a priority of mine.
I noticed that. I noticed that.
I feel that it's an unfair regulation for DCA to put on the local municipality. I believe the rest of the committee would most likely agree with that as well. So we will comply as we can.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public comments? Still have, okay. Yes, that in yours.
Thank you. Steve Bardecker. We have talked about this in the past, about rezoning 173. Is there any proposal or anything in the wind about rezoning 173 from the Union Township line to Fox Farm Road and or all the way down to the bottom of it?
The answer is the same as it has always been, no. We are evaluating our master plan this year, and so when the planner goes through that, there may be suggestions, but there is no design or intent to rezone 173. When you do your master plan, the intent is to bring properties into as much conformity as we can, so that I'm sure there will be some suggestions about certain properties, but I don't anticipate and I don't support a massive rezoning from one end to the other.
Okay. Just want to make sure there's no truck stops on it.
Andrew Laffey, 3 Farrow Lane. I just wanted to bring to the attention that there was a fuel spill on 173 on August 30th, early hours of the morning,
Yes.
which caused an accident, I believe.
Yes.
Is there any updates on what occurred?
State police are investigating. That's like, actually, I realized the trooper did not put that on there. The state police are investigating, and same thing like cameras, like you're saying, they were going up and down 173. Trying to get camera footage from the commercial properties over there. So there's no, I don't have an answer for you, but the state police, I know.
So they weren't able to get anything from Camp Out or any of the other businesses?
I don't know if they did or not. I know they asked, but I don't know the results.
Okay, and was anybody hurt in that accident?
I do not know that either. I came up the hill like right before that happened and I saw the spill and avoided it when I saw it, but, it was, yeah, I do not know.
It rained,
Yes.
which made it very treacherous. So coming up 173 going eastbound up the hill was very dangerous, so.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it's just, I mean, yeah, I guess I'll share, because it's the second time it's happened in Hunter County, a few months ago. Same thing, I was driving a commercial truck in Pittstown, going down the hill, and there was a fuel spill. The individual went from Califon through Bethlehem, all the way out to Pittstown and county, DPW, the road crew, plus hazmat, and it was like ice on the hill in Pittstown. They had to close the hill. Same thing on 173. So if you see rainbows, that's as slippery as ice when it rains. But no, they did, as far as I know, I don't know where they are in the investigation, but I know they were looking for someone for that lead.
I believe the fire department had come out
They
and
did,
put down some.
the fire department did respond.
DOT did also, so, first thing.
Sand is usually the best way to go. But yeah, unfortunately, that was it was 3 days in a row. We went through, Lee Farm Road had a hazmat spill, Turkey Hill had a hazmat spill from a garbage truck. And then we had 173, so it was one day after another, well, last week, with those spills. The first two, we know where they came from and they addressed them appropriately. This third one, is still under investigation.
Okay.
Any other public comment? All right.
The question is for Steve. Did you ever meet with the schools about the water runoff?
Whatever, me and Carl took a ride, and we walked all in the woods and everything like that. I believe Carl was gonna address it, but basically what it is, all the sewer lines in the parking lot go down into a sewer pipe that's way out in the back field. We established that. That pipe comes out and goes into the woods and then basically comes out onto Iron Bridge Road. So they'd have to do a hell of a lot of digging to reroute all those underground pipes from the parking lot. But that's what we established. All the draining pipes just lead into the one manhole cover that's way out in the back field. All converters is there, and then it goes under a pipe, comes out into the open air where you can see it. You're out deep into the woods. And it just gets dispersed into the woods, and from there it just makes its way out to Iron Bridge Road. So we did investigate it and.
But you talked to the school about trying to,
I believe Carl was gonna ask them, because basically nothing we do, but it's their problem, what we get the results of it. It'd be-
the first parking lot where the tractor and garage is, that
Yeah.
parking lot dumps directly right on Iron Bridge Road. You can see that
We
parking.
didn't investigate that. I didn't think that was a problem. We were worried about where that gentleman's house got the driveway pushed out.
Yeah,
We investigated that and we found the problem. I don't think you're gonna do anything. There's so much excavation that has to be done for all the sewers in the main parking lot that lead right to there.
I know there should be a detention basin or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. That's what we came up with. But somebody screwed up years ago.
I know, but the gentleman never lost his driveway till he did the roads over.
Yeah.
And he
Unfortunately.
had a 24-inch pipe in there, now he put a 36-inch and it still washed it away.
Yeah, it's something I guess we should address the school, and ask if they'd be willing to do any more excavating or something.
Right.
You know, but me and Carl did definitely investigate all that. You know, both walking stickers for an hour and a half back there.
Are we not correct in catch basins on Iron Bridge Road? I wrote up. Are we not correct with 3 catch basins I brought up at the last meeting for the water, because the water doesn't go into them, they go around them or go behind them?
Tom, the engineer, looked at it and said, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I believe that was his assumption. He did go out and look at it. So I can, ask him again, but I believe the report back from him was nothing was wrong with the catch basin.
You know yourself when it rains, when you go down, I got pictures I can show you.
No, I know. Carl's got pictures too.
Yeah, so what, 3 of them are not working, so why would we tar and chip something that's not working?
According to the engineer, everything's fine. That's what I can tell you.
Well, then he should pay for it when we have to tear it up, right? He's responsible, you're saying.
He says everything is fine.
He's responsible.
He's wrong.
Do we have a problem down the park with the pavilion down, not the pavilion, the snack stand?
No,
No? Mr. Decker told the Board of Health that the kids are getting in there and turning the water fountain on, that's why the water fountain was on before it was scheduled to be on. That's from the Board of Health.
that I don't know. It was never reported to me.
Somebody's breaking in, or they have.
That's what, Mr. Decker said, somebody got into the snack shack, one of the kids got in there and turned the
He
water
said- he
fountain
said
on.
it's you?
It was,
Pardon? He said that to you?
No, he said it to the Board of Health. I turned it in because it shouldn't have been on, because he stated at the meeting that the water's not safe to drink, it doesn't meet the standards. And I called Carl about it, and Carl said, oh, they told me to go down there and turn it off. Somebody on the board told him to go down and turn it off, so somebody turned it on, and Mr. Decker's blaming the kids for it.
Because I have no knowledge of that. We don't have any reports of kids breaking in there.
Well, that's what I'm saying, there's a lot of loopholes here.
Well, we can actually ask that, to change the code.
I don't even, yeah, I think they did, because, I don't even know if it's going to go to Hunter Games, somebody asked me for it, I think they did change it.
Okay.
So the new rec people are in charge of it, and, yeah, I don't know anybody.
I know the fountain was working when I was down there with my grandkids.
It's, yeah.
But then there's two months later, Mr. Decker states that the water doesn't meet state standards. I said, well, how'd they turn it on then? That's why the question I'm just asking, it's my kids there, my grandkids. are there.
It failed, but then it passed on a retest.
Can I see the dates? How can I get the dates?
You can ask Tom.
Yeah,
that's all, yeah, so I knew it failed and shut off, and once it passed, that.
Why do you test it twice? Why is it tested twice?
It was because it failed and we asked to retest and it came back.
It was turned on when it was failed though, that's what I'm saying. Because it was turned on and he stated to, and the meaning that it was unsafe to drink. Not unsafe, doesn't meet state standards.
It was iron, too much
I
iron.
knew it was on, but yeah, I didn't know that it was on, so, yeah, I couldn't answer for it.
All right.
But we can go ahead and ask the rec department to change the code in case somebody's got it that shouldn't have.
Oh, I understand that, I'm just. You think a kid that gets the code and goes in there and turns the water on?
Who gives the code out, you know?
I understand what you're saying, I mean, it seems, okay.
Yeah, that's, I didn't want to say it like that, but that's.
But I'm wondering, because I remember the last meeting, Mr. Decker had said that when they retested, the water was fine, so was it maybe Carl turned it back on, or Mr. Decker was mistaken, I mean, you know, because again, you're saying you talked to the county, and the county told you, he said, so there's a lot of telephone meetings that could have gotten involved, I don't know.
Well, that, when she called, I know that Board of Health for years.
Okay.
And she called me back, she said, oh, I talked to the town engineer, and town engineer said one of the kids got into the building and turned the water.
That sounds weird to me, so I said, I have no.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, it's,
Yeah, and I understand.
Our key was to, at least from my standpoint, is to make sure the water's safe, and we finally did turn it on, that's where we're at
I
now.
agree.
But you know.
Well, when he said it was unsafe, and I called Carl next day or so.
Yeah, last time, but, you know, he never said that to us, and Carl never told us anybody, if things happen, like we have the cameras down there now, so like Carl sends me video and things of cars going in and out all the time, and he never said a word to me about kids in the snack shack,
I
so.
like to have that addressed before.
Yeah.
So,
I see the sign down there, what, for the park, the market. Is that our sign? Are we renting that sign?
so the county offers us through the OEM, we can request using the signs, so it's on a first come, first come, first served basis. It doesn't cost us anything, they put all the information, all we gotta do is pick it up and bring it back.
I see,
And that's it. So,
I see it's going. I left my shop tonight. see it was
We'll
going.
come back to the community.
we got a community day, if they get it reserved for a week then, and,
Do we need
yeah.
permits?
Nope.
No?
It goes to the OEM and it goes to the county request for their, they have gators, they have radios, they
Yeah,
have.
no, I know, but that's private lane. You're putting a sign. on. I know he called and asked permission. Right?
What's that?
That was private property. Put that sign,
What sign is
the
that?
flashing sign.
Oh, that's actually Lucas's line.
No, it isn't.
That field?
No, it isn't.
I was under the impression, because I put a campaign sign there and I asked him.
No,
He said, yeah, go ahead, put it
it
there.
doesn't belong
Who's the
I
problem?
don't know who's gonna.
there. No, it's multi-tracks. It's multi-tracks. He got all the machines setting on it. It's not Lucas. It's,
I believe it's Lucas's. Want me to call him right now? I will.
you can call him. Go ahead.
Any other
No, I know it isn't.
public comment, we can figure that out.
All right.
But yeah, so yeah, no cost to us, but it is.
No, I was just wondering, I see it every day, I did, but tonight I didn't see it, I said, what happened to that? That's
Yeah,
all.
they brought it back this morning, first thing.
I see, all right, thank you.
Motion to close public comment,
Motion to close public comment.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to enter executive session to discuss 2 personnel and 2 contract issues.
Make a motion to.
Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute, Suzanne, you're back, sorry. Your motion to open public comment again.
Motion to open public comment.
Motion, second, on favor?
Aye.
Sorry, Suzanne, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just put
Oh,
myself,
yeah. Okay, sorry, I saw you would go away. Okay, go ahead.
a few questions, one for the attorney. he said that there's no appeals, but yet I thought like 2023 was reduced property tax because of appeal for an assessment. So what, I don't understand how there could be no appeals and you just voted to, give people money back and reduce property taxes because of appeals.
Yeah, I don't know, I think those are errors that were made, but those weren't
Now,
resolved.
one specific, I think 2023-77, I thought says appeal, unless I'm wrong. What you just voted on tonight.
What, yes, that's correct. There was an error related to, an overpayment of taxes of $1,664. I believe it was for, Hidden Valley Way. And it was what, there was a project that was
Actually, I believe this was the home that, it was burned and damaged in a fire, and so while they're rebuilding, they're able to reassess it as a non-livable home.
I'm just saying, it says even in the label of the PDF, it says appeal.
Yeah, I think we consented, once we dug up what the history was, we consented to that resolution.
It wasn't an appeal that went to the appeals court in the county.
Correct. It didn't make it that far because
No
we
appeal.
realized.
Okay, I understand now. And all the error discrepancies, those weren't appeals either. They were just error corrections.
Correct.
Okay. And then another question for you. So you were talking about a public hearing for block 34 lot 12. Can you please say what the public hearing is going to be about and when is it going to be?
We're not at that stage yet. We're still in settlement discussions as directed by the judge. We've spent many.
There will be a public hearing, but you don't know what it's going to be on.
Correct, because there's, anytime that there's a land use application, there's a checklist as part of our application process. Environmental impact statements, traffic impact statements, civil engineering, planning. So there's a series of outside professionals that need to create reports that will be part of a complete application. So there will be a submission at some point of a site plan. The township will then review it for completeness. And when the application is deemed complete, either by submitting all the checklist items or having waivers granted for checklist items, then the board will schedule the joint land use board will schedule public hearings that will be noticed, as well as given publication in the newspaper, as well as property owners within 200 feet of the subject property. And then you'll commence the land use hearing process.
So that site plan and the EIS will be available to the public before the public hearing?
Yes.
And
Yes.
will there be input allowed from the public in the public hearing?
Always.
And is there anything to do with the mountain residential being combined with the commercial?
I can't comment on specifics.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll make sure to promote and advertise when there is a hearing. There'll be a planning board, so we'll make sure that everybody has as much awareness of it as possible. It's
Well, and all the supporting documentation so people can review it. And so public will be able to. And my next question, I don't know who this is for. So decals on road signs, I know are illegal. Does anyone know, is there a fee associated with if I were to happen to do it?
You said decals on road signs?
Decals or signs, putting up on the road signs.
They're regulated by the MUTCD.
No, like somebody's putting a bumper sticker on a stop sign, is that kind of what you're saying?
Well, it's a political decal.
Well, it's
It's
not,
on county roads, and the county did. And the person put them right back up again.
I would assume fall under probably our littering ordinance, that
Vandalism.
Yeah.
Vandalism. Not permitted.
But is there a fee? It's the
Fine means?
Huh?
You mean, is there a fine? If you're-
Yeah.
I don't know how you find out.
No, I meant fine, I said fee, I apologize, thank you. So we don't know, but it is illegal, just
Yes, it is.
know that it is illegal, and if the state trooper was here, I'd ask him to patrol Charlestown Road in my area.
We can make that request. We'll do
Yes,
that.
please. Well, I've made it many times before. So, and then, Mr. Muir, this one's for you. When you said that, you know, the township really doesn't want a group home and nobody in town wants it, I disagree. I think that it's a very harmful statement of in our backyard. You know, people have a right to live wherever, and sometimes we might not like what's there, but to stay in town would not want a group home and would never have it. I personally disagree with it. I'm not saying that they're the easiest neighbors, but these kids have to live somewhere.
I think you misunderstood me. If you go back to previous meetings, I've actually been an advocate for the group home. I'm just stating what I believe to be a general fact, that if it was up to local municipal zoning to allow group homes, most likely you would not see local municipalities choosing to have group homes. The first group home that was there was actually behavioral children that were placed by the court. They were in our schools, and if you go back to the record back then, my comments were that we all chose to live here in Bethlehem Township because we believe it's a beautiful place and a wonderful place to raise our children. And I wouldn't want to deprive those children the same opportunities that I chose to give my children. Same thing tonight, I made the same comments that I do believe that would remain a group home. And our intent is to make them the best neighbor they possibly can be. I didn't say that I didn't want it. I'm just saying in the generality that the reasoning why municipalities do not have statements and control over group homes is the reality is most municipalities would not zone for group homes and you would not allow them. So please don't, misstate what I was trying to say or say, put words in my mouth.
Well, I appreciate you clarifying that. That is what I heard, because I am at home and I didn't hear all the words. Appreciate you clarifying it. I just, obviously I backyard, but sometimes the, reality is reality. And sometimes accepting things that aren't as pretty as what we think. I'm changing my point of view on this as I get older myself. So I do appreciate you clarifying that. And the last thing I want to say is when you ask people to come up to the it definitely helps, because now that I'm sitting in my house, when people start the owl just, the video just plays and you can't hear. So if you did a pretty good job tonight of requesting people to come up when they had something to speak, but just continue to do that. And if someone does start, especially when public comment isn't even, it's not open to the public comment, say there's a time, and you've been very, very good about opening to public. So I really appreciate it. It is now that I am at home, it really helps when the person comes up in front of the mic. So thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. Motion to close public comment. Oh, well, Mr. Lavin, very quick last.
Andrew Laffey, 3 Power Lane. Quick question about the ordinance that was passed for no parking overnight on streets. Still see cars parking overnight. Is that?
It's not enforceable, right? So we sent it to DOT for review. We realized that it was supposed to be enforced by state police and the motor code,
Yeah.
Title 39, I was gonna say, Donna would tell me, correct me, but I believe it was Title 39, which I got right in the email the other day. So it was Title 39, but we had a discussion about it and the enforcement of it, and it's probably better to have our zoning enforce it, so we're gonna be revisiting that. And then at the last planning board meeting as well, there's a proposal for a warehouse in Union Township, right on Frontage Road, at the border of Bethlehem Township, or relatively close. So the planning board's looking to enhance that and have a municipal, ordinance for truck parking as well. So if it's Title 39, if they get a ticket from the state police, it comes to our municipal court, it's like an $18 ticket, the trucks are $48, and typically the trucking companies put that on as a cost of doing business. If we make it a municipal ordinance, we can change that fine and make it much more prohibitive. And so we're looking to do that for the trucks, and then for the cars, we're looking to make it enforceable through zoning rather than state police, because we think we'll have more enforcement that way.
You can also increase if you have repeat offenders, that
Yes.
like, oh, I don't care, I'll pay the $45 ticket. Through the ordinance, you can increase, okay, let's see your sport defense doing it.
So while that ordinance was passed, it still needed to go under DOT review. They hadn't completed their review, and we asked them to, not complete that so that we can revisit the.
So can we legally clarify this? Are we allowed to park on the street overnight as of today?
I believe right now, there's no official regulation preventing you from doing that. I would say if there's something that's blocking emergency vehicles, the state police makes some sort of determination whether that's a different thing than parking. So I just ask that people are respectful that.
I agree with 100%. People are parking on the opposite side of the street and blocking people from backing out of their driveways. So even one of the.
But that's not a violation.
It's not, it's just a safety issue.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree, but I think that's not.
Yeah, no, it's if the road narrows for.
Wait, so parking on the wrong side of the street is not?
Well,
Is legal?
Parking facing the wrong way.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I thought you mentioned being parked opposite of a driveway.
No, both.
If being parked opposite of a driveway is not legal. Being parked facing the wrong way, then traffic goes in the road,
Facing
so traffic's going east, you're parked facing.
Yes.
That's illegal.
Thank you.
That's under Title 39.
Thank you.
Proper parking statute.
One thing they had, snow plowing kind of takes exceptional, you're not allowed to park when we're gonna have a snowstorm, because for instance, DPW can drive around, so we leave notes in mailboxes, we let people know. I don't know if that's enforceable.
It is, once there's a snowstorm, then it's a state of emergency, and so we try to leave a note to be courteous, but then the next step is the state police then issue a tow enforcement.
We can also make an ordinance as well for the snow, but it has to be labeled at all the entry points to the municipality, to the town.
It may not be labeled properly, but according to state police, it does exist and they do enforce it, so there's just fair warning to residents, the state police will tow your car if you don't comply with the initial letter.
Thanks.
Snow. And we'll get the signs. What's the call, public comment? Alright, I'll get it.
What Paul just said, I believe there's either it's a state ordinance or it's a state ordinance, I believe, for speed limits, for unmarked and marked roads.
Correct.
And I believe it also covers parking during snowstorms. I think that also covers that
I know that there's
gray area.
there's not one, so Title 39:1-38, that's all the parking statute.
Right.
There's nothing in there for snow covered.
Right, but
Fire hydrants, everything else. It might be a different.
I think it's covered under the section for unmarked and marked roads for speed limits.
So the speed limits are separate, because, right, and basically what that does is the town doesn't have an ordinance, it basically compares the speed limit based upon the frontage of the road, whether it's residential.
Yes,
Although it's.
but that's in the
25
state ordinance, I'm pretty sure.
It's 25, 35, or 50, basically, if it's not posted, technically, Mountain View Road, under that, would fall as a 50-mile-an-hour road.
Technically,
Under that. state
so does
law.
mine.
Yeah, well, then my ordinance is 40 and 30, conditions allowed, so they have provided.
But yeah, but I think
The way.
during snow emergency, there's no parking.
There's different, you get your driveway. When you're right away in your driveway, it's usually based, the person wants it to be the.
You want,
And so if you have it at 50, it's gonna be 50.
yes.
That's the problem, they have to try to enforce one that's. 35.
Slow down. Do the speed limit.
Right, they're trying to have an efficient meeting, you open up a can of worms with two attorneys. and all.
I will say this, though, that this, out there, we get a lot of speeding complaints in town, I can tell you we get those limits in as well. And a good 75% of the speeders I get are the people that are complaining about the people speeding in the neighborhood. So,
Which we call public comment. Second, all in favor? Actually, Chris, I'll defer to you. Did we ever get to our vote for executive session?
I'm sorry?
Did we ever get to our vote for executive session?
No, we went
Okay.
right back to open.
Okay, so
comments.
I have a motion, or can I have a motion?
Motion to go to executive session.
I have to reiterate, 2 contracts, 2 personnel. Second, all in favor? There will be action taken, will most likely action be taken, we'll come back to public session. Lou, I'm not sure, I don't know, give us a second. 20 minutes, to come back.
So anybody who's not on to the executive session, please disconnect. You can connect back on in about 20 minutes, and I'm going to pause the recording.
Yes.
It's raining.
Oh, yeah, it's boring. Thank you, wonderful to see you.
It's over.